Hello, English learners. Welcome back to Learn Fluent English Pod. If you're new here, my name is Catherine, and this is where we improve our English through real-life conversations. Learning a language isn't just about memorizing words. It's about using them in context, hearing them repeatedly, and practicing them out loud. That's why we focus on repetition, shadowing, and listening. The more you hear a phrase, the more natural it becomes. And the more you say it, the more confident you'll feel using it in real life. Today, I'm taking you through my daily work routine from the moment I wake up to the time I return home. Along the way, I'll introduce expressions and phrases that naturally come up in my day, break them down for you, and give you plenty of examples. All right, let's start. The first thing I do every morning is drag myself out of bed. Now, this phrase means to wake up and get out of bed, but with some effort. Usually because you're still tired and don't feel like getting up. Come on, repeat after me. Drag myself out of bed. Again, drag myself out of bed. Now, let's use it in sentences. Sometimes it's hard to drag myself out of bed, especially on Mondays. Another way to say it is, after staying up late last night, I barely managed to drag myself out of bed this morning. And another example is, my alarm went off at 6 a.m., but I just couldn't drag myself out of bed right away. Say this last one with me. My alarm went off at 6 a.m., but I just couldn't drag myself out of bed right away. Again, my alarm went off at 6 a.m., but I just couldn't drag myself out of bed right away. Did you repeat it? If not, go back and say it with me. Repeating helps you remember. All right, once I finally get out of bed, the next thing I do is freshen up. This means to wash your face, brush your teeth, and generally make yourself feel awake and clean in the morning. Come on, repeat after me. Freshen up. Again, freshen up. Now let's use it in some sentences. Before heading to work, I always take a few minutes to freshen up. Another way to say it is, after a long flight, I needed to freshen up before meeting my friends. And another example is, he stepped into the bathroom to freshen up before the meeting. Repeat this last one with me. He stepped into the bathroom to freshen up before the meeting. Again, he stepped into the bathroom to freshen up before the meeting. All right, now let's move on. After freshening up, I usually grab a quick breakfast before heading to work. Now, this phrase means to eat something fast without spending too much time preparing or sitting down for a long meal. Come on, repeat after me. Grab a quick breakfast. Again, grab a quick breakfast. Now let's put it in a sentence. I was in a rush this morning, so I just grabbed a quick breakfast. Another way to say it is, I usually grab a quick breakfast before catching the bus. And another example is she grabbed a quick breakfast on the way to her office. Say this last one with me. She grabbed a quick breakfast on the way to her office. Again, she grabbed a quick breakfast on the way to her office. All right, we've started the morning routine, but there's still so much more to talk about. Getting dressed, commuting to work, and what happens once I arrive at the office. So after grabbing a quick breakfast, it's time to get dressed for work. Now this phrase simply means putting on clothes for the day, but depending on the situation, it can also mean dressing appropriately for a specific event or purpose. Come on, repeat after me. Get dressed for work. Again, get dressed for work. Now, let's see how we can use it in different situations. In the morning, I take about 10 minutes to get dressed for work. Another way to say it is, he quickly got dressed for work because he was running late. And Another example is she always plans her outfit the night before so she doesn't waste time getting dressed for work. Let's say this last one together. She always plans her outfit the night before so she doesn't waste time getting dressed for work. Again, she always plans her outfit the night before so she doesn't waste time getting dressed for work. Now, once I'm dressed, I head out the door. This means to leave the house and start your journey somewhere, whether it's to work, school, or anywhere else. Repeat after me. Head out the door. Again, head out the door. Let's see it in some examples. I grab my bag, put on my shoes, and head out the door. Another way to say it is, she quickly drank her coffee and headed out the door. And another example is, after saying goodbye to his family, he headed out the door for an important meeting. Say this last one with me. After saying goodbye to his family, he headed out the door for an important meeting. Again, after saying goodbye to his family, he headed out the door for an important meeting. Now, once I head out the door, I usually catch a ride to work. This means getting transportation, like taking a bus, train, or even getting a ride from someone else. Come on, repeat after me. Catch a ride to work. Again, catch a ride to work. Now, let's use it in different situations. Since I don't drive, I usually catch a ride to work with my coworker. Another way to say it is, she caught a ride to work because her car broke down. And another example is, he missed the bus, so he had to catch a ride to work with a friend. Let's say this last one together. He missed the bus, so he had to catch a ride to work with a friend. Again, he missed the bus, so he had to catch a ride to work with a friend. All right, I arrive at the office and settle in for the day. This means getting comfortable in your workspace and preparing to start work. Repeat after me. Settle in for the day. Again, settle in for the day. Let's put it into sentences. As soon as I get to my desk, I settle in for the day by checking my emails. Another way to say it is, he grabbed a cup of coffee and settled in for the day. And another example is, after a long commute, she finally settled in for the day at her office. Say this last one with me. After a long commute, she finally settled in for the day at her office. Again, after a long commute, she finally settled in for the day at her office. All right, we've covered getting dressed, leaving the house, commuting, and arriving at work. But my day is just getting started. There's still so much to talk about: meetings, tasks, lunch breaks, and everything in between. The first thing I do is get down to business. This means to start working seriously, to focus on the important tasks at hand. Come on, repeat after me. Get down to business. Again, get down to business. Now, let's see it in action. As soon as I sit at my desk, I get down to business and start answering emails. Another way to say it is, the team wasted no time and got down to business right away. And another example is, after some casual chatting, they finally got down to business and discussed the project. Say this last one with me. After some casual chatting, they finally got down to business and discussed the project. Again, after some casual chatting, they finally got down to business and discussed the project. Once I've gone through my emails, I usually have a meeting. But sometimes unexpected things happen, and I need to put out fires. This means handling urgent or unexpected problems quickly. Repeat after me. Put out fires. Again, put out fires. Let's look at how we use it. My manager called me early in the morning because there was a problem and I had to put out fires before my meeting. Another way to say it is, our customer service team spends most of their time putting out fires. And another example is he had to put out fires all day because of technical issues. Say this last one with me. He had to put out fires all day because of technical issues. Again, he had to put out fires all day because of technical issues. After dealing with urgent issues, I finally jump into a meeting. This means to start a meeting right away without wasting time. Come on, repeat after me. Jump into a meeting. Again, jump into a meeting. Let's see it in examples. I had to put out fires early in the morning, so I jumped into my meeting a few minutes late. Another way to say it is, as soon as she arrived at the office, she jumped into a meeting. And another example is, he barely had time to grab coffee before jumping into a meeting. Say this last one with me. He barely had time to grab coffee before jumping into a meeting. Again, he barely had time to grab coffee before jumping into a meeting. All right, so now I've started working, handled some urgent issues, and jumped into a meeting, but there's still so much more to do. Tasks, deadlines, and of course, the much-needed lunch break. So after my meeting, I take a deep breath and dive into my tasks. This means to start something with a lot of energy and focus. Come on, repeat after me. Dive into my tasks. Again, dive into my tasks. Now, let's use it in examples. After the meeting, I wasted no time and dived into my tasks. Another way to say it is, as soon as she arrived at work, she dived into her tasks for the day. And another example is, he likes to grab a coffee before diving into his tasks. Say this last one with me. He likes to grab a coffee before diving into his tasks. Again, he likes to grab a coffee before diving into his tasks. While working, I often have to juggle multiple things at once. This means to handle many tasks or responsibilities at the same time. Repeat after me. Juggle multiple things at once. Again, juggle multiple things at once. Now, let's see how it's used. Today, I had to juggle multiple things at once. Emails, reports, and phone calls. Another way to say it is, she's great at juggling multiple things at once without getting overwhelmed. And another example is, managing a team means you have to juggle multiple things at once every day. Say this last one with me. Managing a team means you have to juggle multiple things at once every day. Again, managing a team means you have to juggle multiple things at once every day. Then, just when I think I'm making progress, a last-minute request comes in, and I have to drop everything to deal with it. This means to stop doing what you're working on and focus on something else urgently. Come on, repeat after me. Drop everything. Again, drop everything. Let's put it in action. My manager needed an urgent report, so I had to drop everything and finish it right away. Another way to say it is, when my friend called me for help, I dropped everything and rushed over. And another example is, she had to drop everything when her child got sick. Say this last one with me. She had to drop everything when her child got sick. Again, she had to drop everything when her child got sick. So now, I've dived into my tasks, juggled multiple things, and even had to drop everything for urgent work. But soon, it's time for my favorite part of the day, lunch break. Lunchtime is my little escape during the workday. After a busy morning, I finally get to take a breather. This means to pause and take a short break to relax. Repeat after me. Take a breather. Again, take a breather. Now, let's see how this phrase works in sentences. After back-to-back meetings, I needed to take a breather before jumping into my next task. Another way to say it is, she took a breather after finishing a long report. And another example is, let's take a breather before we continue our discussion. Say this last one with me. Let's take a breather Before we continue our discussion, again, let's take a breather before we continue our discussion. During lunch, my colleagues and I often catch up on things. This means to talk about what's been happening recently. Come on, repeat after me. Catch up. Again, catch up. Now let's use it in examples. Over lunch, we caught up on each other's weekend plans. Another way to say it is, I haven't seen my best friend in a while, so we need to catch up soon. And another example is, after being away for a month, I had a lot to catch up on at work. Say this last one with me. After being away for a month, I had a lot to catch up on at work. Again, after being away for a month, I had a lot to catch up on at work. But lunch doesn't last forever. Before I know it, I have to get back to the grind. This means to return to hard work or a demanding routine. Repeat after me. Get back to the grind. Again, get back to the grind. Now let's put it into action. After lunch, I got back to the grind and tackled my afternoon tasks. Another way to say it is, Monday mornings are tough because I have to get back to the grind after the weekend. And another example is after a long vacation, it's always hard to get back to the grind. Say this last one with me. After a long vacation, it's always hard to get back to the grind. Again, after a long vacation, it's always hard to get back to the grind. So I take a breather, catch up with colleagues, and then get back to the grind. But the afternoon isn't always smooth sailing. Sometimes I have to deal with unexpected challenges. The afternoon at work can sometimes be smooth, but other times I have to put out fires. This means handling urgent problems or dealing with unexpected issues. Come on, repeat after me. Put out fires. Again, put out fires. Let's see how it works in real situations. My manager called me suddenly because there was an issue with a project, so I had to put out fires all afternoon. Another way to say it is, in customer service, you're always putting out fires and solving problems. And another example is, she spent the whole day putting out fires at the office. Say this last one with me. She spent the whole day putting out fires at the office. Again, she spent the whole day putting out fires at the office. When things pile up, I have no choice but to power through. This means to keep going and push forward, even if something is tough. Repeat after me. Power through. Again, power through. Now, let's put it into examples. I was feeling exhausted, but I had to power through the last 2 hours of work. Another way to say it is, he powered through the difficult assignment and submitted it on time. And another example is, despite being sick, she powered through the meeting and finished her presentation. Say this last one with me. Despite being sick, she powered through the meeting and finished her presentation. Again, despite being sick, she powered through the meeting and finished her presentation. Of course, when I finally finish all my work, I feel a weight off my shoulders. This means relief from stress or responsibility. Repeat after me. A weight off my shoulders. Again, a weight off my shoulders. Now, let's look at how we can use it. When I submitted my report, it felt like a weight off my shoulders. Another way to say it is, after paying off her debts, she felt a huge weight off her shoulders. And another example is, finishing that big project took a weight off my shoulders. Say this last one with me. Finishing that big project took a weight off my shoulders. Again, finishing that big project took a weight off my shoulders, so the afternoon can be hectic. I put out fires, power through, and then finally feel a weight off my shoulders. But the day isn't over yet. As the workday winds down, I start tying up loose ends. This means finishing small, unfinished tasks before leaving. Repeat after me. Tying up loose ends. Again, tying up loose ends. Let's put it in real situations. Before leaving for vacation, I spent the whole day tying up loose ends at work. Another way to say it is, she was tying up loose ends on a project before heading home. And another example is, I like to tie up loose ends before the weekend so I don't have unfinished work on Monday. Say this last one with me. I like to tie up loose ends before the weekend so I don't have unfinished work on Monday. Again, I like to tie up loose ends before the weekend so I don't have unfinished work on Monday. Once everything is sorted, I clock out and leave the office. Clock out means to officially end the workday, especially if you use a system to track work hours. Repeat after me, clock out. Again, clock out. Now, let's see how we can use it. I clocked out at exactly 6 p.m. and rushed home. Another way to say it is, employees must clock out before leaving work. And another example is, after a long day, I finally clocked out and headed straight to the gym. Say this last one with me. After a long day, I finally clocked out and headed straight to the gym. Again, after a long day, I finally clocked out and headed straight to the gym. As I step outside, I realize I dodged a bullet. This means I avoided a bad situation or a problem. Repeat after me. Dodged a bullet. Again, dodged a bullet. Now let's see some examples. I forgot to submit my report, but my manager didn't ask for it. Phew, I dodged a bullet. Another way to say it is she almost missed her flight, but made it just in time. She really dodged a bullet. And another example is, he dodged a bullet when he didn't invest in that failing company. Say this last one with me. He dodged a bullet when he didn't invest in that failing company. Again, he dodged a bullet when he didn't invest in that failing company. So, I tie up loose ends, clock out, and sometimes I even dodge a bullet before heading home. But my day isn't over yet. I still have my commute and evening routine ahead. After clocking out, I step outside and take a deep breath. The day was long, but I pushed through. This means I kept going and didn't give up, even when things were tough. Repeat after me. Push through. Again, pushed through. Let's use it in real situations. Even though I was exhausted, I pushed through and finished my tasks. Another way to say it is, she had a terrible headache, but she pushed through the meeting. And another example is, he wanted to quit halfway, but he pushed through and completed the marathon. Say this last one with me. He wanted to quit halfway, but he pushed through and completed the marathon. Again, he wanted to quit halfway, but he pushed through and completed the marathon. Now I head to the subway station. The moment I step in, I realize it's packed. No surprise. I manage to grab a small space and squeeze in. This means to fit into a small or crowded space. Repeat after me. Squeeze in. Again, squeeze in. Let's see how we can use it. The train was full, but I somehow squeezed in. Another way to say it is, she managed to squeeze in one more appointment before the end of the day. And another example is, we were running late, but we squeezed in a quick lunch. Say this last one with me. We were running late, but we squeezed in a quick lunch. Again, we were running late, but we squeezed in a quick lunch. The train starts moving, and I finally have a moment to unwind, but suddenly a loud argument breaks out between two passengers. I decide to tune it out, which means to ignore something or not pay attention to it. Repeat after me. Tune it out. Again, tune it out. Now let's put it in real situations. The office was noisy, but I tuned it out and focused on my work. Another way to say it is, she tuned out the negative comments and kept going. And another example is, he tuned out the background noise and continued reading his book. Say this last one with me. He tuned out the background noise and continued reading his book. Again, he tuned out the background noise and continued reading his book. So, I push through the exhaustion, squeeze into the crowded train, and tune out distractions on my way home. But my day isn't over yet. There's still the evening routine ahead. As soon as I step off the train, I make a beeline for the nearest coffee shop. This means I go directly and quickly to a place without any distractions. Repeat after me. Make a beeline. Again, make a beeline. Let's see how we can use it. As soon as the meeting ended, she made a beeline for the exit. Another way to say it is, when the doors opened, the shoppers made a beeline for the sales section. And another example is, after work, I always make a beeline for my favorite cafe. Say this last one with me. After work, I always make a beeline for my favorite cafe. Again, after work, I always make a beeline for my favorite cafe. I grab a coffee, take a deep breath, and finally feel a bit more awake. But before I get too comfortable, I remember that I have to run some errands before heading home. This means to complete necessary tasks like shopping, picking up dry cleaning, or going to the bank. Repeat after me. Run some errands. Again, run some errands. Let's use it in real situations. I need to run some errands before I go home. Another way to say it is, he spent the morning running errands for his family. And another example is, she ran some errands and then met her friend for lunch. Say this last one with me. She ran some errands and then met her friend for lunch. Again, she ran some errands and then met her friend for lunch. So, I rush to the grocery store, pick up some essentials, and finally head home. By the time I walk through the door, I'm completely worn out. This means to be extremely tired, both physically and mentally. Repeat after me. Worn out. Again, worn out. Let's use it in real situations. After a long day, I was completely worn out. Another way to say it is, he was worn out from working overtime all week. And another example is, she looked worn out after running the marathon. Say this last one with me. She looked worn out after running the marathon. Again, she looked worn out after running the marathon. Even though I'm exhausted, I still have dinner to prepare and a few things to do before I can finally relax. But first, I change into comfortable clothes, wash my face, and take a moment to wind down. This means to relax after a busy or stressful day. Repeat after me. Wind down. Again, wind down. Let's use it in real situations. After work, I like to wind down with a good book. Another way to say it is, she winds down every evening by listening to music. And another example is, he took a long walk to wind down after a stressful day. Say this last one with me. He took a long walk to wind down after a stressful day. Again, he took a long walk to wind down after a stressful day. Now that I'm home, I can finally shift into my evening routine. But of course, the day isn't over just yet. After winding down for a bit, I head into the kitchen to start preparing dinner. But before I even take out the ingredients, I realize that the sink is piled up with dishes. This means that there are a lot of dirty dishes stacked in the sink, probably from the morning rush. Repeat after me. Piled up with dishes. Again. Piled up with dishes. Let's use it in real situations. The sink was piled up with dishes after the family dinner. Another way to say it is, I didn't feel like doing the dishes, so they piled up quickly. And another example is, she walked into the kitchen and saw the sink piled up with dishes. Say this last one with me. She walked into the kitchen and saw the sink piled up with dishes. Again, she walked into the kitchen and saw the sink piled up with dishes. So, I roll up my sleeves and get to work. It's not my favorite chore, but I know if I put it off, it'll only get worse. After scrubbing the last plate, I finally start cooking. Tonight, I'm keeping it simple. Just some grilled chicken and a salad. But as I start chopping vegetables, I accidentally nick my finger. This means to make a small cut on your skin, usually by accident. Repeat after me. Nick my finger. Again, nick my finger. Let's use it in real situations. She nicked her finger while slicing onions. Another way to say it is, I was cutting vegetables too fast and nicked my finger. And another example is, he nicked his finger on the edge of a paper. Say this last one with me. He nicked his finger on the edge of a paper. Again, he nicked his finger on the edge of a paper. I quickly rinse my hand, put on a bandage, and get back to cooking. It's just a small cut, nothing serious. By the time dinner is ready, I'm feeling a little drained. This means to feel physically or emotionally exhausted, usually after a long day. Repeat after me. Drained. Again, drained. Let's use it in real situations. After back-to-back meetings, I was completely drained. Another way to say it is, she felt drained after working a 12-hour shift. And another example is, he was drained from dealing with so many problems at once. Say this last one with me. He was drained from dealing with so many problems at once. Again, he was drained from dealing with so many problems at once. Even though I'm tired, I sit down and enjoy my meal. It's nice to finally slow down and take a break. After dinner, I clear the table and wash the last few dishes, making sure to leave the kitchen tidy for the next day. Repeat after me. Clear the table. Again, clear the table. Let's use it in real situations. After dinner, we all helped clear the table. Another way to say it is, she cleared the table and wiped it down. And another example is, he forgot to clear the table after eating. Say this last one with me. He forgot to clear the table after eating. Again, he forgot to clear the table after eating. Now, with dinner done and the kitchen clean, I finally have a bit of time for myself. But my day isn't over just yet. Now that the kitchen is spotless, I finally sink into the couch for a little break. But just as I start to relax, I remember I still have laundry to tackle. To tackle something means to deal with or take on a task that needs to be done, often one that requires effort. Repeat after me. Tackle. Again, tackle. Let's use it in real situations. I need to tackle this pile of paperwork before the deadline. Another way to say it is, she tackled the mess in her room over the weekend. And another example is, he tackled his to-do list one task at a time. Say this last one with me. He tackled his to-do list one task at a time. Again, he tackled his to-do list one task at a time. So I get up, gather my laundry, and throw it into the washing machine. I set the timer and let it do its thing while I finally sit down for a few minutes. It feels like I've been on my feet all day. This means to be standing or moving around for a long time, usually leading to exhaustion. Repeat after me. On my feet all day. Again, on my feet all day. Let's use it in real situations. I was on my feet all day at work, and now I just want to sit down. Another way to say it is, she felt exhausted after being on her feet all day at the store. And another example is, he complained about being on his feet all day during his shift. Say this last one with me. He complained about being on his feet all day during his shift. Again, he complained about being on his feet all day during his shift. I stretch out my legs and check my phone for a bit, but before I know it, the washing machine beeps and it's time to hang up the laundry. This means to put washed clothes on a line or rack to dry. Repeat after me. Hang up the laundry. Again. Hang up the laundry. Let's use it in real situations. I need to hang up the laundry before it wrinkles. Another way to say it is, she hung up the laundry outside to dry in the sun. And another example is, he forgot to hang up the laundry so it stayed damp. Say this last one with me. He forgot to hang up the laundry so it stayed damp. Again, he forgot to hang up the laundry so it stayed damp. Once the clothes are hanging, I feel like I can finally call it a day. But just before heading to bed, I take a moment to wind down. This means to relax and prepare yourself for rest after a long or busy day. I change into my pajamas, grab a book, and finally relax in bed. My day has been long, full of chores and responsibilities, but I feel good knowing I got everything done. As I lie in bed, I finally let out a deep sigh of relief. But just when I think I can fully relax, I remember I need to set the alarm for tomorrow. To set the alarm means to adjust a clock or phone to ring at a specific time as a reminder to wake up or do something important. Repeat after me. Set the alarm. Again, set the alarm. Let's use it in real situations. I always set the alarm for 6 a.m. to start my day early. Another way to say it is, she forgot to set the alarm and overslept. And another example is, he set the alarm to remind himself of the meeting. Say this last one with me. He set the alarm to remind himself of the meeting. Again, he set the alarm to remind himself of the meeting. Once that's done, I close my eyes, hoping for a good night's sleep. But it feels like the night flies by. And before I know it, the alarm is blaring. Time to drag myself out of bed. This means to get out of bed reluctantly, usually because you still feel tired. Repeat after me. Drag myself out of bed. Again, drag myself out of bed. Let's use it in real situations. I had to drag myself out of bed after staying up too late. Another way to say it is, she dragged herself out of bed even though she wanted to sleep more. And another example is, he had trouble dragging himself out of bed on Monday morning. Say this last one with me. He had trouble dragging himself out of bed on Monday morning. Again, he had trouble dragging himself out of bed on Monday morning. I shuffle to the bathroom, splash some water on my face, and try to shake off the sleepiness. This means to get rid of drowsiness and wake up completely. Repeat after me. Shake off the sleepiness. Again, shake off the sleepiness. Let's use it in real situations. I drank coffee to shake off the sleepiness. Another way to say it is, she went for a quick jog to shake off the sleepiness. And another example is, he splashed cold water on his face to shake off the sleepiness. Say this last one with me. He splashed cold water on his face to shake off the sleepiness. Again, he splashed cold water on his face to shake off the sleepiness. By the time I'm fully awake, I realize I have to pick out an outfit for the day. This means to choose what clothes to wear. Repeat after me. Pick out an outfit. Again, pick out an outfit. Let's use it in real situations. I took forever to pick out an outfit for the party. Another way to say it is, she picked out an outfit that matched her mood. And another example is, he quickly picked out an outfit before heading to work. Say this last one with me. He quickly picked out an outfit before heading to work. Again, he quickly picked out an outfit before heading to work. After that, I get dressed and head to the kitchen to grab a quick bite. This means to eat something quickly, usually because you're in a hurry. Repeat after me. Grab a quick bite. Again, grab a quick bite. Let's use it in real situations. I only had time to grab a quick bite before work. Another way to say it is, she grabbed a quick bite before running out the door. And another example is, he stopped at a cafe to grab a quick bite between meetings. Say this last one with me. He stopped at a cafe to grab a quick bite between meetings. Again, he stopped at a cafe to grab a quick bite between meetings. I check the clock and realize I'm running late, so I rush out the door. This means to leave quickly because you're in a hurry. Repeat after me. Rush out the door. Again, rush out the door. Let's use it in real situations. I had to rush out the door to catch the bus. Another way to say it is she rushed out the door with her coffee in hand. And another example is he forgot his phone when he rushed out the door. Say this last one with me. He forgot his phone when he rushed out the door. Again, he forgot his phone when he rushed out the door. I grab my bag and head out, knowing that my workday is just beginning. As I step outside, I take a deep breath and feel the crisp morning air. It's refreshing, but I don't have time to enjoy it. I need to catch the bus. This means to get on the bus before it leaves. Repeat after me. Catch the bus. Again, catch the bus. Let's use it in real situations. I had to run to catch the bus this morning. Another way to say it is, she barely caught the bus before he pulled away. And another example is, he wakes up early to catch the bus on time. Say this last one with me. He wakes up early to catch the bus on time. Again, he wakes up early to catch the bus on time. As I wait at the bus stop, I realize I forgot to grab my coffee. Mornings are rough without it. The bus finally arrives, and I hop on. This means to get on quickly and casually. Repeat after me. Hop on. Again, hop on. Let's use it in real situations. I hopped on the bus just in time. Another way to say it is, she hopped on the train and found a seat near the window. And another example is, he hopped on his bike and rode to work. Say this last one with me. He hopped on his bike and rode to work. Again, he hopped on his bike and rode to work. The bus is crowded, but I managed to find a seat. I put on my headphones and tried to tune out the noise. This means to ignore the background sounds and focus on something else. Repeat after me. Tune out the noise. Again, tune out the noise. Let's use it in real situations. I listened to music to tune out the noise on the bus. Another way to say it is, she tuned out the noise and focused on her book. And another example is, he closed his eyes and tried to tune out the noise around him. Say this last one with me. He closed his eyes and tried to tune out the noise around him. Again, he closed his eyes and tried to tune out the noise around him. The bus ride isn't too long, and soon enough, I arrive at my stop. I step off the bus and start walking toward my office. To step off the bus means to exit in a calm and controlled manner. Repeat after me. Step off the bus. Again, step off the bus. Let's use it in real situations. I stepped off the bus and walked toward the office. Another way to say it is, she stepped off the train and checked her phone. And another example is, he stepped off the plane and took a deep breath of fresh air. Say this last one with me. He stepped off the plane and took a deep breath of fresh air. Again. He stepped off the plane and took a deep breath of fresh air. As I enter the building, I head straight to my desk. This means to go directly to your workspace without stopping. Repeat after me. Head straight to my desk. Again, head straight to my desk. Let's use it in real situations. I headed straight to my desk to start work. Another way to say it is, she headed straight to her desk and turned on her computer. And another example is, he grabbed a coffee and then headed straight to his desk. Say this last one with me. He grabbed a coffee and then headed straight to his desk. Again, he grabbed a coffee and then headed straight to his desk. Before I even sit down, my manager walks over and gives me a pile of work. Looks like it's going to be a busy day. I take a deep breath, drop my bag beside my chair, and roll up my sleeves. This means to prepare for hard work, both literally and figuratively. Repeat after me. Roll up my sleeves. Again, roll up my sleeves. Let's use it in real situations. I rolled up my sleeves and got straight to work. Another way to say it is, she rolled up her sleeves and started cleaning the kitchen. And another example is, he knew the project would be tough, so he rolled up his sleeves and got started. Say this last one with me. He knew the project would be tough, so he rolled up his sleeves and got started. Again, he knew the project would be tough, so he rolled up his sleeves and got started. My to-do list is packed, but I know I have to tackle one task at a time. This means to deal with work systematically, focusing on one thing before moving to the next. Repeat. After me. Tackle one task at a time. Again, tackle one task at a time. Let's use it in real situations. I decided to tackle one task at a time instead of stressing out. Another way to say it is, she tackled one assignment at a time and finished everything by the deadline. And another example is, he tackled one problem at a time and solved them all efficiently. Say this last one with me. He tackled one problem at a time and solved them all efficiently. Again, he tackled one problem at a time and solved them all efficiently. As I get into the flow, my colleague pops by my desk. She needs my help with something urgent. I can't say no, so I drop what I'm doing. This means to stop what you're working on immediately to focus on something else. Repeat after me. Drop what I'm doing. Again, drop what I'm doing. Let's use it in real situations. I had to drop what I was doing to help my colleague. Another way to say it is, she dropped what she was doing to answer an important call. And another example is, he dropped what he was doing and rushed to the emergency meeting. Say this last one with me. He dropped what he was doing and rushed to the emergency meeting. Again, he dropped what he was doing and rushed to the emergency meeting. After helping her, I try to get back to my work, but my inbox is overflowing. Emails keep coming in, and I'm struggling to keep up with everything. This means to stay at the same pace as your workload or responsibilities. Repeat after me. Keep up with everything. Again, keep up with everything. Let's use it in real situations. I have so many emails that I can't keep up with everything. Another way to say it is, she struggled to keep up with the fast-paced work environment. I decide to grab a coffee to recharge, but when I get to the break room, I realize my boss is there. He asks me about the report I was supposed to send yesterday. Oops. I totally dropped the ball. This means to make a mistake or forget something important. Repeat after me. Drop the ball. Again, drop the ball. Let's use it in real situations. I completely dropped the ball on that report. Another way to say it is, she dropped the ball and forgot to send an important email. And another example is, he admitted that he dropped the ball by missing the deadline. Say this last one with me. He admitted that he dropped the ball by missing the deadline. Again, he admitted that he dropped the ball by missing the deadline. I quickly apologize and promise to send the report in an hour. He nods and walks away, and I breathe a sigh of relief. That could have gone worse. I rush back to my desk and buckle down to finish my work. This means to focus and work seriously without distractions. Repeat after me. Buckle down. Again, buckle down. Let's use it in real situations. I had to buckle down to finish my report on time. Another way to say it is, she buckled down and studied for her final exams. And another example is, he buckled down and completed the project before the deadline. Say this last one with me. He buckled down and completed the project before the deadline. Again, he buckled down and completed the project before the deadline. With full focus, I managed to finish my report and send it off just in time. The rest of the day is filled with meetings, emails, and more tasks. As the workday winds down, I take a moment to reflect. Today was hectic, full of unexpected interruptions and last-minute tasks, but I managed to stay on top of everything. Even when I drop the ball, I pick myself back up and buck down to finish strong. This is the reality of a busy job. Some days feel like a race against time, but as long as we tackle one task at a time and keep up with everything as best as we can, we make progress. Repetition is key to mastering these expressions. So, if you want to reinforce what you've learned, go back, listen again, and repeat the phrases with me. The more you hear them and say them, the more natural they'll feel in your own conversations. If you found this useful, hit that like button, subscribe for more, and leave a comment sharing how your own workday looks. Do you use any of these expressions in real life? I'd love to hear from you. That's all for today. See you in the next one.